After reading chapter 10 of Daniel Dreisbach's book, Reading the Bible with the Founding Fathers, one can better understand the relationship George Washington had with religion and the Bible. The phrase "under our own vine and fig tree" is mentioned in the Bible 3 times, yet Washington mentioned it over 36 times in the latter part of his life. Dreisbach analyzes the scriptural context of this phrase and its significance to Washington's life within the world of colonial America and the Revolutionary War. As noted by Kieran O'Keefe, George Washington's religious beliefs are complex, and his outward actions were seemingly contradictory. He spoke frequently of providence in his writings, but never referenced Jesus. O'Keefe also points to Washington's church attendance and involvement as being erratic and inconsistent. Unlike other founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and Patrick Henry, Washington never addressed matters of religion explicitly and was not publicly open about his beliefs. Therefore, as Vincent Muniz suggests, since Washington does not offer a singular document on religious liberty, we must extrapolate his political theory from his political practice, including the letters and the writings that belong to it. Dreisbach thus studies Washington's letters and speeches in referencing the biblical phrase, "under our own vine and fig tree." Although this phrase is mentioned in 1 Kings and Zechariah, Dreisbach believes Washington is referring to Micah 4:4. He comes to this conclusion because of other instances where Washington stated phrasings from Micah 4:3, sword into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks. The usage of the Micah 4:4 passage is significant to both the imagery and meaning it represents in both the biblical and revolutionary context. Micah the prophet ministered this word during a time of war. The vine and fig tree points to a new Jerusalem, and that can only be fulfilled when all turn away from other gods and submit to the sovereign creator of the world. A new Jerusalem is to be established in the last days and would bring everlasting peace and prosperity. Also significant is the biblical symbolism attached to the vine and fig tree. Dreisbach's research shows that when mentioned together, the vine and the fig tree are signs of national and individual security, peace, and prosperity. In order to cultivate such fruit, patient labor is required. Stability and continuity are the results, for the fig tree and the vine are long-lasting. However, individually, the vine and the fig tree also hold powerful meanings. The vine, producing grapes, serves as an emblem of abundance and productivity. Wine from the grapes represents vitality, fertility, hospitality, and celebration. Even the coloring of red wine points to the blood and the sacrifice needed to acquire a season of fruitfulness and joy. The fig tree is similar. Its leaves represent shelter and protection, while the fig fruit embodies the life, fertility, as it is in its many seeds, and peace that accompanies prosperity. The historical context of Micah and the biblical symbolism of the vine and the fig tree is thus important to understand Washington's usage of the phrase, to which Dreisbach contributes 3 main political meanings. First, it references Washington's freedom from want. It is a picture of contentment that is free from greed and envy. Washington's retirement at Mount Vernon brought him rest and relaxation. All his hard work and labor and blood sacrifice had produced a free land and a country finally free from totalitarian reign. There was nothing else he could want. Secondly, the vine and fig tree indicate a freedom from fear. Since the colonies were liberated from Britain, terror and the threat of disturbance were now gone. Peace and prosperity could reign freely. Like the leaves and fruit of the fig tree, the colonists were protected. They were safe and could now inhabit the land with houses, businesses, and commerce. Likewise, Washington retired to the bountiful gardens of Mount Vernon, knowing the rich history of the land and the inheritance to come would be secure. Lastly, the freedom of religion. Here, Washington desires that under their own vine and fig tree, each is able to practice one's religion of choice based on personal convictions and consciousness. Again, quoting Vincent Muniz, the right to liberty of conscience secures for the individual the freedom to worship the deity according to the dictates of one's conscience. This means that government ought not impose a mode of worship upon an individual that he or she finds objectionable. Therefore, in a civil society, all religion would be permissible. In conclusion, Dreisbach eloquently affirms Washington's faith and understanding of Scripture. In referencing most likely the Micah 4:4 phrase of the vine and fig tree, Washington is presenting the agrarian ideals of simplicity, domestic tranquility, self-sufficiency, and the blessings of religious liberty. All principles and rights the father and fighter of the Revolutionary War, George Washington, was then ready to see fulfilled upon his retirement at Mount Vernon in 1797. Beautifully written and orchestrated are the words from Hamilton the musical that echo Washington's sentiments. It says, "If I say goodbye, the nation learns to move on. It outlives me when I'm gone. Like the scripture says, everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. They'll be safe in the nation we've made. I want to sit under my own vine and fig tree, a moment alone in the shade, at home in this nation we've made."